Let's talk Tanya for the 14th of Shevat of a leap year. Yesterday we were introduced to the idea of divine speech, of God's words. And we explained that God's words, they are the creative energy that is constantly pushing the world into existence. Now, when we talk about God's speech, and we spoke about this briefly yesterday, obviously this is an anthropomorphism, which means that we are ascribing some sort of physical qualities to God, and obviously God is not physical in any which way. And this is something that is commonly done in the Torah, in the words of our sages. We talk about God, for example, having eyes, or God seeing. What does that mean? God doesn't have eyes, and seeing is a physical sense. What we're talking about is God's providence, meaning whenever we encounter some sort of physical description of God, what we have to do is immediately we have to strip it of its physicality, identify the abstract spiritual idea which is at the core of that physical thing that we're describing. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about God. So when we're talking about vision, so the human being perceives with a physical eye and with a physical sense of sight. But what is that? What is the spiritual, abstract spiritual idea at the core of that is the idea of awareness and the idea of watching over something. Yeah, God is aware of everything, watching over everything, not in a physical way. Again, that's a typical example of an anthropomorphism. Let's try to do the same thing with speech. What is the abstract spiritual concept or concepts that underlie speech? So the Alter Rebbe says there are two ideas that are behind speech. Number one, speech separates from us. If we talk about the different faculties that we have, and the different attributes that we have, many of which we've discussed in the past, there's chachma, bina, das, awareness and processing and connection, and then there's kindness and severity, and all the other emotions that we have. And then there's thought. All of these don't separate from us. They remain inside of us. When we speak, the words that we say now, they enter someone else's mind, they enter the atmosphere. We don't own them any longer. They separate from us. Can this apply to God? Can we say that God's speech is called speech because it separates from him? The Alter Rebbe says absolutely not. Nothing separates from God. Les asar pani minei, the Kabbalists tell us, there is no place that is devoid of him, no place that is empty of Hashem. Maloi chalaris kavode, he is everywhere. So if he's everywhere, nothing can separate from him. So what do we mean when we say God's speech if it doesn't separate from him? So Alter Rebbe says there's another characteristic of speech, a spiritual characteristic of speech, and that is that speech reveals. Something which was beforehand hidden and concealed now is revealed, comes out in the open. When we talk about God speaking, we mean that God is revealing something. It's not separating from him. It remains one with him because everything always remains one with him, but it is revealed. So, for example, when we talk about the 10 utterances with which the world was created, what is being revealed over here? God's creative powers. God always had those creative powers, but they were concealed. Now that God uses these creative powers in the creation of the world, that is called speech, because now these creative powers are being revealed. There's another form of speech when God speaks in the Torah, where it says, Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe lemer, God speaks to Moshe. What does that mean that God is speaking to Moshe? Once again, that means that God is revealing his wisdom and his will to us. So to recap what we had today, normally speech consists of two elements, separation and revelation. However, by Hashem, when he speaks, there is no separation, there is only revelation. That's the way it would seem. And tomorrow we will find out that is the truth from Hashem's perspective. From our perspective, Hashem's speech actually also separates from him. And we'll find out more about that, Emir Tzah Hashem, tomorrow.